Your Words Destroyed My Planet, the stream series. The edited version. Originally streamed live at twitch.tv/dualitysdownfall. More information in the description. Your Words Destroyed My Planet. Chapter 32. You open your front door to your hive, stressed and exhausted. Now that you're indoors, you drop onto the floor instead of floating the whole way back. Stupid lack of shoes. A desperate scrabble from within your hive makes you look around just as Hal hurries out of his respite block with a backpack in hand. "Oh, it's just you," Hal says. "Fuck you, try again," you say back without any real venom. I was panicked because I thought you might be Dave. You look a lot better than I thought you would, since you were just hospitalized. How do you feel?" Hal asks, tossing the bag back into his block again. "I keep getting this splitting migraine that comes and goes, and when I have it, it's like the brightness and bloom have been turned up on a shitty video game. Other than that, I'm fine. You look like shit. How do you feel?" You ask in return. "I think I feel about as terrible as I look, but given that my computer blew up in my face, I could be doing way worse," Hal admits, and his fingers rise up to gently nudge the swollen, cut, and bruised skin over his eyebrow. "That's kind of what I wanted to work out. I've been trying to stop this goddamn virus spreading, and I've been getting antivirus stuff to catch it more, which should help, but Dirk and Roxy started telling me parts of it before Equius kicked them out, and I know you sent me some snippets of things. Can you just start at the beginning and tell me what you did? Also, what's with the bag?" You ask. "Oh, I was gonna move back in with Dad for, I don't know, an amount of time," Hal says, and he looks back into his respite block again, unhappily. "Because of the head injury? Wait, do you need supervision or something?" You ask. He probably didn't know you were coming home so soon, so he might have thought that he'd be here alone tonight. "No, yes, I should be around people, but I think I should go back to Dad's place for now. It's not that I think you'd find me on the floor with my brains leaking out of my ears and do nothing. It's more that I doubt Dave is gonna want to be anywhere near me right now," Hal says softly. "Oh," you manage. "Yeah, their whole family just blew everything on the ship up. Along with Carcat and somehow Cancry. You're not sure how involved Dave's individual family members were, or their partners, but they most likely all knew. You don't know for sure who did what, but at least Dave's biological siblings were all driving this thing. Dave said how he hated people knowing about this stuff. Even the shuttle was unbearable for him, and most of the people there knew already. But to have the whole ship know everything is so much. You haven't looked at the files they released about Dave. It doesn't feel right. We thought we could leak it and not get caught at all. We were all set to not get caught, have no evidence linking us to anything, and play as innocent as possible. We thought we'd be able to get the whole ship to pressure the captain into stepping down without the goddamn standoff we had instead," Hal says quietly. "I don't even know where I stand on all of this," you admit. Hal looks at you questioningly, but winces when his eyebrow moves, so the expression gets muddied a little. You get what he's trying to do, though. "So, I know some of Dave's past with this stuff, and I know about the balance," you start. "And you're one now, somehow," Hal adds. "Yeah, that's complicated, but yes, I am. Obviously, I don't like the idea of people forcing him to do anything, and you know how much I hate being made to do shit I don't want to do. You know how bad that went with our first manager who tried to micromanage everything I did," you point out. Hal snorts in amusement, or maybe it was a snicker that just got fucked up from his messed up face. Who knows? What you and Hal both know is that you're horrible people to manage, and your first manager ended up having to go to a new job, and they simply never filled the position again, so everything worked much more smoothly, and you didn't have anyone breathing down your neck all the time. Obviously, I don't like any of that. Also, conspiracies and huge secrets aren't good things. Not really the hallmarks of great leadership or ethics, but I also know that I'm absurdly new to all of this, and when people I trust who have been doing this for ages tell me that something is the way it is for a good reason, I'm gonna do that until I figure out otherwise. Also, Dave was horrified when our whole shuttle found out. Everyone knowing was obviously awful for him, you point out. And we basically just did the worst thing possible to him. Yeah, that's why I don't want to be here. It all seemed so justified at the time. I wanted to fix things so badly, but now it's all fucked up. I'm not gonna make him live with me until things are better again. If that ever happens. He deserves somewhere safe to come back to, you know? That was meant to be me, but I screwed that up. So, yeah, I'm packing some more of my things to stay with Dad. Hal sighs. You don't know what to say. You know Hal. He's a good person. You're friends. He loves Dave so much, and you know he wouldn't go into anything intending to hurt him. But at the same time, you're pretty sure that Dave is going to be incredibly hurt by all of this, to say the least. Are you supposed to take a side or a stance here? You're definitely team, that was a bad plan, given how it turned out and the dumb decisions they made, but you don't know enough about how everything with the Void really works to defend anyone. When you're done packing, could you help me look at the virus? Walk me through everything? The last thing we want is for it to get into any seriously vital ship systems, you say. We did try to make sure it wouldn't get anywhere like that. Look, give me 5 minutes. I'll come to your room and we'll try and figure this out. I can read the screen if your migraine comes back, and you can keep me thinking coherently through this concussion, Hal offers. That sounds like the kind of thing Dave would slap on a shittily drawn motivational poster, you say with a grin. You can almost picture it now. You know it, Hal says gleefully, though that glee almost immediately fades at the thought of Dave. You go into your respite block and pause. It wasn't this tidy when you left. You had to pack in such a rush. Your things look neater, and your bed is neatly made, too. Did you clean in here? You ask, leaning out the door. No? Oh, Karkat did stay there sometimes when he was avoiding Gamzee. I didn't think he'd fuck with your stuff, though. Hal answers back from across the hive. I didn't say he stole anything, you mutter as you look around. Karkat would never do that. Instead, he tidied. God damn Karkat touching your things. You make a mental note to sneak into his office and move his things around out of revenge. Make him go hunting for his own stuff for ages. You sit down at your desk and turn your machine on. You go through all of the steps you have to in order to prove that it's you. Clicking a thing on your palm husk, putting the password in, solving a randomly generated coding problem. As you do. Your beloved machine opens up everything you want to use without you even having to ask. It's not psychic, you just know what you usually go for, and even if it's not always right, it's so delightfully seamless when it is. You frown as your browser pops open on the default page. It's not open as you'd expect it to be with all of your tabs from before. What? You mutter, hoping like hell this isn't a new weird mutation of Karkat's virus doing this. Your first thought is that something has somehow closed your previous session and everything you had will just be in your recently closed file. You go to check and find that not only is there no recently closed tabs, there's no history at all. Wait. You roll your desk chair into your open doorway, catching your foot on your suddenly empty trash can, and lean out into the main room. Did you actually clear my browser history? You ask incredulously. Your shuttle vanished. We feared the worst. I undertook my sworn duty, Hal says solemnly from inside his block. I'm actually impressed. How did you do it? You ask. If I tell you, I'll have to kill you, and then I'll have to clear it again, which seems recursive. Also, if we're being honest, I didn't do it when I thought you were all dead, since I was way too messed up at the time, but I did it later on principle. I also swiped your notes about Karkat's virus at the same time, Hal says, and leaves his room with his backpack on his shoulder. You know I had more than one set of notes, right? You say warily. Yeah, I'm not stupid. Like, you'd only have one of anything. I found the full thing you submitted that got you the job with our Trollian logs about it at the time, and then I found the actual notes you were taking, which were way less comprehensible and contain a lot of shit about Karkat. Like, why the fuck did he put this in here? I'm gonna beat you to death with a till death book and everything. Hal laughs. In my defense, maybe if I'd done that, we wouldn't be in this situation. So, if you're done, you ask hopefully, and wheel back into your block. Okay, but I can't stay for long. As soon as I'm back with Dad, I'll be on my housetop and we can finish this then. Hal warns you, dropping his bag on the lounge plank. I'll get my notes, you say as he comes into your respite block. Hal goes to crouch next to you by your chair and then makes an inelegant noise and flails backwards, catching himself on one hand while he's still crouched. You stare down at him as he hisses several curses out and awkwardly extracts his palm husk from the very tight jeans that he's wearing, and possibly was vacuum sealed into, given how they look. You could solve this problem by not wearing those, you point out. Look, listen. Unlike my adoptive siblings, we Striders were not blessed with an abundance of ass, but what we have is fantastic, and we're all under legal obligation to wear something skin tight for a certain amount of time every year, lest we deprive the masses of the view. I'm doing my civic duty, Hal says primly. The image of Dave in his very, very form-fitting undersuit appears unbidden in your mind. Stop thinking about Dave's ass so loudly, Hal says flatly, and tosses his palm husk out onto the lounge plank, where it immediately wedges itself between the cushions in a shot that Hal couldn't have done on purpose if you gave him hours to try. I'll remember this when it's you thinking about someone else's body, then I'll call you on it, you threaten him. A look of panic and mortification flickers over Hal's face for a microsecond before he locks it down. Didn't you say you used to like Jake too? Are you remembering that? Man, I wish I'd been around you then to laugh. You snicker, just picturing it. Ha, yeah, that was definitely, anyway, code, Hal says hurriedly. Something feels off about that, but you have bigger problems right now. You start walking Hal through what you've got through so far, and then he starts to explain more. See, we tried just taking out big parts of Karkat's code, and the whole thing just refused to work, so we had to leave it in there and work around it, Hal explains, pointing to big chunks of Karkat's code that you recognize from before. Yeah, it's a nasty piece of work. When you mess with it, it's like it fights you, I know. You nod in agreement. Right, but when we tried to do what you did before to cut it off from the ship's main system so it didn't get us all killed, so if you... Here, give me... Yeah, see, this part we modified what you did to cut it off from the reactor, Hal explains, taking control and scrolling for you to the right parts. Your eyes flicker over unfamiliar text that you hadn't caught before, and a slow smile creeps onto your face. That's really nice. Who did that? Was that you? You ask eagerly. I wish. No, that nice little paradox where it can only get into the vital systems if it's never been capable of death, meaning it's never been activated, was Roxy's work. Toldelth's weird death principles seem to work well with her way of thinking, Hal says with a wistful sigh. On the plus side, maybe that means that it won't get into anything vital at all, and you can just work on stopping the virus at a slower pace, since all it's going to do is tell people things they already know about and briefly inconvenience them. However, did you activate it, though? You ask him slowly. Hal blinks up at you, his bruised face plainly showing confusion. It's active, he says finally. Right, but Karkat said you hadn't planned to set it all off until the time we were meant to come back. We were looking at coming back early because the void shit was getting out of control on Somnos, and Gamzee was having a waking nightmare up here. This virus went out early, so how did it get out? You ask him. I don't know. None of us know. Hal sighs, getting to his feet and sitting on your bed. You swivel your chair around to look at him and wait. I can't see any evidence that it was out before the morning I got blown up. My memory is a little weird for right around that time, but I know I was working on my own since you were gone. I wasn't going to work on it on a computer out in the open, but I must have been. I think I remember looking at the code, but then it's all explosion, pain, someone from the nearest office running to see what happened, and then the hospital. And between that and the concussion, I had a reaction to a painkiller, and it's all really hazy. Hal says. You lean back in your chair and think for a moment. So, either it somehow got out on its own, or you released it, but you don't remember. The thing is, if you didn't activate it, then the wording of Roxy's workaround doesn't stick, and we could still be in trouble. You point out. I don't know why I would have released it, though. It wasn't ready, and it had loads of things in it that we weren't planning on putting out there. All the stuff about Mom's research about those ships she tested on, we wanted to hold back so we didn't make people panic. As for everything about Dave, we had no intention of letting that out at all. At most, we were going to say that he was one of the balancers being exploited, but never the rest of it. Hal says, sounding utterly miserable. I can't even say that someone could have startled you, because then they'd have been there when it exploded. Not that I've even worked out yet what made your husk top explode exactly. You say thoughtfully. I may not remember it, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I wasn't sitting there completely oblivious with my finger on the release unfinished chaotic treason virus button. Then someone sneaks in and jumps from behind yelling, "Boo!" And then it's released and they somehow escape without being caught in the explosion or seen. Yeah, no. Hal scoffs. Remind me to make you a button that says that. Maybe when you press it, I'll have it play an exploding husk top gif on your screen. You laugh. General rule of thumb, if the wounds haven't closed yet, it's too soon. Hal grumbles, but he doesn't actually look upset. He's just annoyed that you're giving him shit about it. You pause as a thought occurs to you. I was going to say that I don't think I've ever snuck up on you, but I've never tried. I know Dave reacted badly once when I startled him, and not to be grim, but I'm guessing you're pretty aware of your surroundings for the same reason, so it's unlikely that anyone snuck up on you. Yeah, I'm pretty aware of what's around me all the time. People, especially. Hal agrees, looking at the floor instead of you. Unless it's not someone you can see because they're already dead. You finish. You and Hal stare at each other for a moment as that particular idea sinks in. A ghost? Hal says uncertainly. I know we can rule out Bro, he was with us at the time, but I don't know if Gamzee's dead ancestor could have done it. I don't know if that's even something he can do, or if he'd even be able to know what you were doing. You say with a shrug. I mean, we always had Karkat with us when we were talking about all this stuff, just to be sure that he wasn't watching, and he never showed up. I also can't think that Signless would have had any motivation to do that, and the impression I got from Karkat was that the free-range regular ghosts aren't as strong. He says, but he sounds uncertain. Hold on, you tell him, and turn your chair around to the screen again and open up Trollian. I have a ghost question. How did the original question die? From despair, retroactively from you asking that? Anyway, I lied. It's several questions. Firstly, can any ghost kicking about the ship fuck with a husk top to make it explode? Oh, you're talking about Hal, right? Normally I'd say no, but we have been really close to unreality, if not outright in it for a while, so maybe? So, it's possible then? Blowing a light is one thing, but a whole husk top in a violent explosion is another. It's not like ghosts can even interact with tech to use it, and it's probably Karkat's virus that caused the explosion, so it's not like any ghost could have even set it off. Not even GHB? If he wanted to, he probably could have blown the power to it, but that would have just turned it off. Trust me, if Bro and GHB could interface with tech that easily, we would know about it. Neither of them would be able to resist terrorizing people. Also, Damara gets really bored, and she would have figured it out by now, too. So, he couldn't have messed with the husk top directly to cause it to blow up. I really doubt it. With the unreality, then maybe he could have briefly had the power to do it, but even if he did, why Hal? If anyone, he would want to attack Gamzee or Karkat. Hal said that GHB was never there when they were talking about their plan, so he couldn't have known, or it's really unlikely. Also, he doesn't strike me as the type to be able to read till death. Yeah, I really doubt he can. Bro probably can, but again, he wouldn't do this since it put the ship at risk and he doesn't want to die again. Bro might be violent and cruel, but he's pretty reliably self-interested, and I know how he treats Dave, so I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to hurt Hal, but he wouldn't risk all that, and he was with us. Yeah, I agree. That puts me back to square one with figuring this out, but thanks for ruling that out for me. No problem. Could I ask you a favor, though? Sure. I didn't mind answering that at all, and obviously you need to know that to try and help with this virus, but... Sorry, were you busy? Kind of. Obviously, if something is important like that, definitely message me. See, if you were busy with Nepeta or Polypa and helping with keeping the ship running, I feel like you'd have said that. I wonder what could possibly be distracting you. Ha! You bet anything she's either with Jade right now or trying to talk to her. Your glee at managing to call out Aradia for her crush for a change instead of the other way around is short-lived when you realize that Hal is reading over your shoulder. His face is just sad. I have no idea what to do with the information that Bro is still around. That he's seen all of us. He didn't just stop existing when he died. I don't know what he thinks about any of us, about me and Dirk. I mean, fuck, do I talk to him at some point? Hal says helplessly. I'm sorry, you mumble, and quickly close that chat with Aradia. You turn and face Hal properly. He seems consumed with the mere idea of his biological father being around still. Not that you can fault him for that. It'd be a huge concept to grapple with, even if Bro wasn't a goddamn monster of a person. Listen, I know there's lots about this that I don't know. A whole lot of shit that isn't my business, for sure. But if you want me to help, I'll do what I can. Psionic hates Bro and can and does often take him down in a fight. If Sai's here, I can ask him to keep Bro away when he's around. I can tell you when Bro's here if you want, but I'd probably have to ask Dave about that first, since I don't know if he wants me to ignore him most of the time or not. And if Dave says it's okay, I can help you talk to Bro if you want. If there's stuff you want to get off your chest or whatever, you offer. I think what I got off my chest is probably half the problem here, Hal mutters. What? You ask, suddenly lost. Hal gives you a look like you're stupid, which you are, because it takes you several seconds to remember, oh right, he had surgery. That's why he's got those almost grub scar-like scars on his chest. You still keep forgetting about that. That was the slowest light bulb moment I've ever seen, Hal says flatly. Light bulb, you repeat slowly. Okay, do you have a concussion too? He asks sarcastically. You don't answer him and instead turn around back to your screen and start hurriedly looking for what you're thinking might be the answer. You scroll all the way until you get to the part of Karkat's code that they essentially junked out and left there just so everything else would still work. One of you put this part in, this part about tech dying. It's leaning on Karkat's old instruction about the code killing infected tech, you say, tapping at the part on your screen. Right, but we didn't want it to destroy things, but Dirk said when he took that part out it didn't work at all. Hal nods. Yeah, because Karkat's code is a cursed Jenga tower of instability and weird quirks. We know that. So this is Dirk's code then? You ask, and Hal nods. You stare at it for a bit, trying to work out exactly what's going on. You know it's significant, but you're not sure exactly how. You feel it, though. He changed it to dying tech to speed it up. Instead of blowing stuff up, he changed the order so when people's stuff blows up, the virus transmits faster. We didn't want the captain to be able to get ahead of it and quarantine infected parts of the network and cover it up. That wouldn't start it, though, Hal points out. This is Karkat's original thing is talking about tech that belongs to people being destroyed, but it's till death, so it's tech death that you're looking at. Dirk fucked with it to say that when tech has died, you're having to go all past tense there, and I get why he did that. If you go any other way, you risk blowing stuff up because of the virus, which Karkat's original one did sometimes. But because you've done that, I think you could read this as people in the past tense and dead tech. You say slowly. What? Are you saying dead people? You think someone dying on the ship set this off or something? Hal asks uncertainly. No, it's not that sensitive. People die everywhere all the time. It's just... Hold on, I have an idea. I think I have one of Mituna's busted up old palm husks here somewhere in my box of cables and tech shit. You mutter as you get to your feet and go hunting for the box. You weren't keeping Mituna's palm husk for sentimental reasons. He went through them fast as anything, so he was never attached to them. It's not like his ring where there was sentiment there. You still haven't actually talked to Mituna about that. There's a lot you and Mituna haven't talked about. Some things are just too much to deal with right away. It's amazing to have him back at all, and the last thing you wanted to do was to upset him or bring down the mood too much. So you've just avoided it. All the same, you do find one of his old palm husks in your box of tech junk. The screen is cracked as hell, and you know he blew the battery on it. You told him you were going to replace it years and years ago, but he got a new one before you could get to it, and you'd tossed it in your tech junk drawer with the idea that someday you'd do something with it, and there it remained. Until now. You find the right cable for it and sit down at your desk again. You plug the palm husk in and wait. It takes a fair few seconds before it powers on, the cracked screen fracturing the display somewhat, but it's still mostly usable. You watch as it connects to the network, and with an ache in your chest, you see his name ping up on Trollian for the first time, and you're not gonna think about it. You shoot him a message and wait. It pings on Mituna's broken screen, and then after a moment, the virus hits. This is also when you remember that the speaker is messed up, but that's not the issue here. I'm going to see if I can get Mituna here, because I think I know what this did by accident. You tell Hal. Oh, right. It feels weird knowing there's a ghost of someone I know around. It's not like we hung out, really, but I kind of knew him. It's different to Signless, Hal says quietly. Or, you very definitely don't say, Bro's ghost being around. Instead, you focus on Mituna and pull him to you. He looks around a little confused until he sees you. You can't just fucking summon me whenever you... Wait, sorry, is that my palm husk? Mituna asks, swinging from pissed to actually curious. Yeah, it is. Sorry about dragging you here. It's just that I need to see if you can use this, you say, pointing to it. Sai was able to mess with tech a bit on the ship, but I've not been able to do that, and I don't think he can either. I think it's more that we were part of that helm, so... Anyway, I tried using the husk tops on Somnos and didn't get anywhere, Mituna says with a shrug. I get that. Can you try anyway? You ask, pointing at the palm husk. Mituna shrugs and floats over to your desk so he doesn't have to lean over you to get to his palm husk. He taps at the screen and he gasps. Holy shit, I can use it! Oh my fucking god! Mituna shrieks in glee. You're never knowing another moment of fucking peace again! Holy shit, is that really him? Hal gasps as your pump biscuit warms at the sight of Mituna's niche brand of linguistic fuckery on your screen once again. Yep, the code can be read both ways. People's tech dying affects the virus, but dead people's tech used by dead people works too. I'd also guess that Mituna can get into the code of it too if he tries. You tell him. We'd been thinking of trying to make something that ghosts could influence so Signless could talk to people, but that was kind of a back burner project with all this going on, and we did it by mistake. Or Dirk did, at least. Hal says in disbelief. How do I get to the virus? Mituna asks, and you point at the screen to lead him to where he should go. But, wait, my computer wasn't some dead person's computer. How does that work? Hal asks. I know you don't like till death because it's a squirmy goddamn language, but it's pretty powerful on the specific concept of death. No, your husk top wasn't given to you by someone who's dead now. It's a pretty new machine, all things considered, but you know, the parts in it are going to be recycled from old tech. The wires, the solder, the basic building blocks that make up even the plastic are taken from old things. Some of that is going to be from someone who died. Not to mention, our office machines have access to dead software, and on top of that, we don't delete old profiles completely. That's historically protected. Every user ID, social media account, everything is saved. If the Void is able to affect ghosts that we've got just hanging around, then maybe it was able to get them to exploit that. You explain. Found it! Mituna chirps at your side. Okay, so aside from the fact that Dirk has somehow invented ghost palm husks in an entirely ass-backward, not at all intended way, how does this explain how the virus got out? Some dead ghost getting back onto their machine to check their emails doesn't really explain much. Hal says, reasonably. See, I don't know enough about the Void yet. Obviously, it's related to dead people, because the ghosts are how we do whatever it is with it that we're doing, but I don't know if there's ghosts in it, or if it's dead in some way itself. I know it can influence people. It made Vakari take his helmet off outside and screwed with reality to let him. You tell him, as you try to think this through. It really helped to have Dave or Aradia to talk to right now. Too bad Aradia's busy, and last time you saw Dave, he wasn't even awake, let alone up to answering questions, and fuck, you're trying really hard to not think about how Dave is doing, or how messed up Bro looked, or what that might say about Dave. There's nothing you can do for him, so you just need to focus on the now instead of a future of what-ifs, otherwise you'll drive yourself crazy. I think I can only get into part of the code. It doesn't let me get the cursor in the rest, and I don't think it's the screen. Mituna says, and taps at the screen over and over. Okay. So, it looks like Mituna can only get the dead parts of the virus code. You observe, as you glance at where he is on the screen. How thematically appropriate. I know the husk top blowing up kind of scrambled my personal circuits, but surely if some malicious entity took over my brain and made me release a virus, I feel like I'd remember it. Hal points out. Maybe? Or maybe it's like a dream and you forget. You shrug. Oh, speaking of dreams, did Karkat tell you that prophetic dream he had about you? Hal asks. It's counting every time I touch the screen. There's a little thing. Mituna says. I'm sorry, he what? You manage, trying to process both of those at once. Yeah, we set up a test for Karkat to see if he could actually get real information through his balancer dreams. He got it right, too, but it was like he saw into the future because he said you were in here and gave him the code and Dave was in your bed. Hal says with a grin. What? You squeak. Calm down. Since he had Beck in your room too, I'm guessing that he was just waiting for his eyes to be changed or something and didn't want to be on his own. He'd normally stay with Jade, but maybe with everything with the captain, she was doing something. Hal laughs entirely at your expense. Wait, he still thinks Dave and Jade are together. Oh man. Well, given everything that's just gone down with Dave's private information getting out, you're pretty sure you're not the person who should tell someone else about Dave's relationship. 988? 989? Matuna says in the background as he hurriedly taps away. That's... okay, I'm pretty sure I haven't been having dreams about the future. I don't think any of my dreams are coming true. You say, as your mind immediately replays that one dream about Dave in that red sparkly bunny suit. You wouldn't mind that one coming true, as long as it doesn't end with Dave looking alarmed at you confessing that you love him. You'd definitely take the rest of that dream becoming reality, though. Seriously? Hal demands with obvious exasperation. Something about your expression must have given you away. 991? 992? Matuna goes on. Tuna, what are you doing? You ask him finally. There's a counter! 993? 994? Matuna answers you. A counter? What kind of... Hal, what did you put in there? You ask him. 995? 996? I think there was something in there for the lights. You gotta count the tech that dies so the speed increase of the virus works. Hal says. 997? 998? Matuna, you try. 999! You very firmly remember sitting on your desk chair, your back to Matuna, who was fucking with his palm husk behind you. You'd turned in your seat to see what he was doing. You remember that. Exactly how you got from that to on the floor with your ears ringing, you don't quite remember. Your psionics pop and crackle in the air, and you hear chunks of something fall to the ground. You blink hazily, realize that your glasses are in your hair somehow, and try to get them back on your face. Again, what? Oh, fuck! Fire! Hal leaps off your bed and over you, bounding out of your block. You shake your head and sit up. There's plastic and metal all over your floor, and oh shit, your desk is on fire! Hal bursts back in with the blanket from the lounge plank and tosses it over your whole desk and starts smothering it. Smoke is already filling the air, and you scramble to your feet to help him. The two of you press the blanket to your desk as much as you can. I'm sorry! Matuna cries out. It's okay. We're okay. Are you okay, Hal? You don't look more blown up than before. You blurt out. I didn't know to do that! Matuna insists. Yeah, I think I'm okay. I think we got the fire, too. I'm pretty sure you caught most of it with your psionics, Hal says and looks down at your desk. I don't think I'm hurt. Do I look hurt? You ask him, knowing it could be the adrenaline at this point. Hal looks up at you, and his eyes skim your face and then the rest of you. No, you're good. Not so sure about your chair, Hal says, with a nod towards your chair. The arm is definitely broken, but there's also a few slashes in the fabric that weren't there before. Considering how that could have gone, you're going to count yourself lucky. Hal pulls the blanket back, and to your relief, flames don't suddenly burst back into existence. To your... whatever the opposite of relief is, there's a massive scorch mark on your desk, and what definitely looks like some plastic melted in there. Your keyboard seems to be okay, but there's a big shard of Matuna's shattered screen sticking out of one of your two husk-top screens. No, you whine. That's entirely on me. I will get you a new one, Hal tells you. It's my fault. I kept pressing the screen to see what it'd do. I didn't mean... You could have died! Matuna sobs, and you hate to see it. Tuna, no, it wasn't your fault. You didn't know. I'm fine. Hal's fine. It's fine. You insist, trying to reassure him. Why does he think it's his fault? Hal asks, looking around like he can see Matuna or something if he tries hard enough. He was pressing the screen to make that counter go up. I guess that's what happens when it goes over 9.99. You explain. It's my fault, Matuna says again, still just as distraught. It's not your fault, you repeat. It's really not. It's not his fault that there's some part of that code that... Oh, shit. Dead person, dead tech interacts with dead code and makes it do things that the now dead version used to do, like blow up. Definitely not his fault, but I guess technically either Dirk's or Roxy's, or mine if I coded that part and now can't remember it. Programmer error, not user. Hal insists. Your remaining screen starts flashing at you. It's Trollian. Oh no.
Tollux, what was that? Are you alright? The monitor detected an exceptional degree of acceleration and then indicated that you had fallen, and now your pulse is very high.
No problems here, I'm fine. Minor technical problem, we're fine.
I can see that the emergency services have been dispatched to your location, so I strongly advise that you tell me what happened.
Oh, shit, that must have been the smoke. Look, I'm fine. There was a small explosion, but I'm fine. I caught everything with my psionics. The only casualties are my chair and one of my screens. Me and Hal are fine.
Wait, you're with Hal?
I live with him. I have done since me and AA broke up.
Oh, I see. I didn't put two and two together. Although, that makes 2 explosions in a short time that he has been in. Are you sure he is alright?
You look from your screen to Hal, only to stop talking when you see his face. He seems to be internally freaking out and doing a very bad job at hiding it. Hal? You say slowly.
No, I'm fine.
Good. Is he saying I should go see him? Hal manages to say. Why? Why does that matter? You ask as suspicion rises in you. What? No reason. I just saw him before, when I got blown up is all, because they were worried one of the bits in my face might do something to my eye, and that's his strong suit, isn't it? Everything would be his strong suit. Because he is a competent doctor, is what I mean. Hal says in a rush. You've got a crush on Equius, you whisper gleefully. No, that's not what's happening here, and anyway, I can't talk to him again because I absolutely embarrassed myself in front of him last time. I was concussed and weird from whatever it was the ER docs gave me, and Solix, no, what are you doing? Hal demands, but you type faster than he can panic. Well, there's no more injuries, no shrapnel or anything, but both of us were knocked over. I'm fine, but Hal has a concussion, right? Shouldn't you look him over?
Perhaps I should. I'm still in the ward. If the paramedics and fire department decide that you're both okay in terms of immediate treatment, then I would suggest that he should come and see someone about that head injury, just to be safe.
I'll tell him that. I'm going to kill you. What are you doing? I can't just go down there. Hal hisses. You can. Also, now he's expecting you. You're welcome. You reply brightly. No, I can't just go flirt with someone at their place of work. It's unprofessional and creepy. It'd be just as creepy if someone was hitting on us at work. Hal argues. That's literally never happened, though. You counter. Not the point! He yells. Alright. I was mostly just fucking with you. Also, kind of not, though. You should go get your head checked out, and Equius is actually a good terrorist. I'm not saying go down there with a rose between your teeth trying to sweep him off his feet, but you should still go. You tell him. If I was a vindictive man, I'd tell Dave that you like him just to get revenge. Hal says threateningly. That's not the threat Hal thinks it is anymore. You are a vindictive man, though, you point out. Fine, if I was a vindictive man who didn't like you and who also wasn't already worried about upsetting my brother, then I would have my revenge, or whatever. Hal clarifies that point to death, leaving you both standing there quietly. There's a sharp buzz from the door, and Hal hurries over with a muttered curse. I'm sorry, Mituna says softly from behind you. You turn around and look at him. He's not crying now, at least, but he still looks pretty miserable. It's okay. I'm not mad. I'm sorry we scared you. You tell him. You could have died, and then you would be dead too. It's bad enough it's me, but then, fuck, you would... Would we even be here if you... You could have... Mituna's words rush out, unstructured and panicked, making your blood pusher hurt. I know. I'm sorry. I'm fine, though. It's okay. You whisper. I got it. is all Matuna manages before he vanishes. Well, shit. Matuna always had a problem with getting too worked up and not being fully able to deal with it when he got there. Not just with anxiety, like just then, but other things too. He just has to cool off on his own, and he'll turn up again. Either he'll apologize for it, or he'll just act like nothing happened. Hey, maybe he'll go and find Sai. You wonder if he used to be like that too.
You again? A voice from the hive front door says sharply. What? Hal says, and you turn to see him talking to the fire people, one of whom has already walked past him to come to your room. This is the second explosion you've been in this week, the fire officer at the door says, with a note of accusation in his tone. Yeah, it's a wonderful time to be me. We're all fine, by the way. There's no fire, Hal retorts. The fire officer, who'd made her way to your block, looks around the open doorway, her eyes darting about, assessing the damage. A palm husk blew up. I caught most of it psionically. No casualties except my chair and screen. There was a small fire, but You look around, and the officer nudges the blanket on the floor with a scorch mark in the middle. Smothered it. Quick thinking. The officer nods. That was Hal's idea. I was still stuck on, oh no, fire, and he'd already run off to get it and come back. You admit. The fire officer nods and reaches around your destroyed screen to unplug it, which is probably a smart idea. The system is mostly smart enough to not power something damaged that much, but it's better safe than sorry. She then looks at you, her bronze eyes darting over you and probably checking for injury. You're the guy from the shuttle, right? One of those balance people, like Dave? She says slowly. Yeah. It's kind of a busy week between all that and this. You admit, a little awkwardly. Well, thank you. I think we all owe you a pretty big debt for all you've done, she says, with a respectful little incline of her horns to you. Oh, God, no. I only just got involved in this. I'm new, really. You blurt out, embarrassment making you stumble over your words. You warped us all through space. I saw it. We all did. That seems like a pretty big thing to be grateful for. We all saw footage of you all online getting carried to the emergency line afterwards. The officer points out. I did not know there was footage of that. Fuck. You whisper. Well, anyway, thank you. And, be careful, yeah? I'll let the paramedics know they don't need to come, she says. You nod and watch as she turns away back to the front door. But twice in one where are we going? The first officer cuts off from arguing with Hal as the one who spoke to you leads him off. Come on, Steve, she says, and pulls him away. The front door closes on a protest from Steve, and just like that, you and Hal are alone again. You pull your palm husk out and open up Chitter. Unsurprisingly, it's full of chatter about the void. The information that's come out, each of your names are their own trending topic, too. Dave's is first, and you get the feeling he's going to hate that. You click over to the video tab, and one of the top videos is spliced together footage from across the ship of the moment the song ends. Each of you crumples into unconsciousness, and despite being all across the ship, it seems like everyone decided as one to pick your bodies up and carry them to medical aid. At first, with most of them, it's just a few people, 3 and then 4 people lifting Gamzee up to carry him. Before too long, though, more hands join, and they end up like you. You'd passed out in the middle of a crowd, and your limp body is carried above by so many hands, people reaching out to touch you as you pass by them, like you were something sacred. You close the video. You don't know what to do with that, or what to even think or feel beyond it simply being too much. I'm gonna turn the fans on higher, Hal says with a cough, and waves his hand through the admittedly still smoky air. I'll run the droids, you agree. You float yourself off of the floor and pick your bed sheets off, shaking them onto the floor before wrapping them all up into a ball and dumping them by the front door along with the blanket. You then float your chair up into the air, jostle it about a bit, and ditch it on your bed. You're actually a little thankful for Karkat's neatness, since it means you've got fewer things to pick up off the floor before you can call the little cleaning droids in here.
You will not be thanking him, though, on principle or something. I'll toss this in the laundry, Hal shouts from the main room. Thanks, you call back and fiddle with the settings on your palm husk to get the droids to come in here and really, really finely clean the floor. It's not like you're dealing with a dusty floor here. This is little bits of broken metal and everything. Definitely the kind of thing you don't want to step on in the night. After a few moments, you hear the little hatch in the base of the wall in the main room click open, and several small cleaning droids whir out. They zip efficiently into your room and start going over all of your floor with care. You can even see the underlit glow of their sensors scouring the floor for even the slightest little shard of anything. You float out into the main room and find Hal fanning the smoky air up towards the little ceiling ventilation fans with the lounge plank cushion. Okay, they're going around my block now. I'll probably have them do the main room too, just in case, but considering we just got caught in an explosion, I think we're doing alright. You tell Hal, feeling pretty lucky, if you're honest. Well, you can be mad that I've been in 2 and you haven't, and I can be mad that I don't have psionics like yours to protect me, which is why my face looks like this. Hal grumbles, still fanning the smoky air, even if you're not sure it's helping. Hey, it's not that bad, you say quietly, putting your hand on Hal's shoulder. You're looking at my face right now. You know how bad it is, Hal says flatly. Yeah, but I'd still pretend to date you, you say innocently. Honestly, you have no idea what you could possibly have said to your dear friend Hal to warrant that lounge plank cushion to the face. You are the picture of honesty and compassion. Don't say shit like that. My face hurts now, Hal says, trying not to laugh and failing. A face I could pretend to love, you add, and hurriedly sprint around the lounge plank to avoid Hal's wrath. You are thankfully saved from a very slow death of being bludgeoned by soft furnishings when the droids come out of your room and beep at you. You dart off to grab your palm husk and tell them to just quickly go over the main room before they leave. In your absence, Hal declares himself the winner of your non-fight. Okay, leaving your face out of it, then, you start. Thanks, Hal mutters, perched on the arm of the lounge plank as you float in place and the droids clean below you. I think that either ghosts screwing with the system set this thing off, or the explosion itself ended up launching the virus. Either way, it means that someone set it off, so it should still stay out of the vital systems. You finish. So either we code something that'll take it down, or we just screw with the ship's whole antivirus stuff to catch it, Hal concludes. Which will be a bitch to code, but not incredibly urgent. You agree. Okay, well, I'll grab Dirk and Rox later and go over all of that, and if those two who haven't been thrown around in an explosion agree that we're right, then we can get on that. Oh, God, I just thought we're gonna have to deal with so many different systems and hardware. Ugh! Hal groans, his face in his hands. Well, that's our... I was going to say that's our job, you say slowly. It is, Hal says. Yeah, but Dave, Gamzee, and Fazor didn't have any job but being sailors and balancers. Aradia's got her science deal, but even then she was still a sailor that did highly specific nerd shit on the side. I assume I still have my job now. Wait, shit, I'm gonna have to pass way more sailor tests now, aren't I? I can't just prove I'm not gonna have my pump biscuit explode if you put me in a shuttle now. Fuck, I don't want to go back to working out. You whine. I swear, if you quit, I will personally fist fight Nepeta to get you back. It has sucked not having you working with me. I've had to work alone, which was boring as hell, or worse, I had to work with other people, and you know how much I like other people. Hal says flatly. You'd definitely lose, but I appreciate the sentiment. Also, Equius is never gonna flirt with you if you punch his Moirail, you say teasingly. Hal gives you the kind of look that makes you think that you should check that your body wash doesn't suddenly have highly staining dye in it in the future. He probably wouldn't do something like that to you, but you know what his sisters are like. Oh shit, you just remembered something. June did that exact thing one time. She was trying to get Jane, if you remember, but Jane reverse pranked and the dyed soap ended up in June's stuff. Except June didn't get caught by it. Dave happened to. He showed up at school with bright blue hair and insisted totally deadpan that he looked the same as he always did, which Terezi found hysterically funny. Karkat made a big deal out of making sure that Dave knew he was blue until finally Dave turned around and asked Karkat, like he was on the edge of tears, why Karkat would keep telling him about colors he could never see. Despite the fact that you know very well that Dave could see colors, even with how terrible his vision was. Naturally, Karkat collapsed under the weight of his own sudden guilt and entirely missed how funny Dave found that. Actually, at the time you remember finding that annoying, that he'd deliberately press Karkat's buttons like that. Sure, you'd have done the same, but that was different, somehow. In hindsight, though, you can kind of appreciate it better. You kind of want to ask them both about that later, just to see how they remember it now. Okay, well, I should probably... Hal begins. He's interrupted, of course, when your front door opens, showing not fire officers or paramedics, but a very bandaged Dave and a Beck at his side. Leave. Hal trails off in quiet horror. It's a little hard to read Dave's expression, seeing as his eyes are bandaged over, and that also more or less covers his eyebrows too, so you're missing a lot of fine nuance there. All the same, he doesn't look thrilled right now. Dave, I was just gonna go. I had my bag packed and here. I would have left earlier, but... Hal starts in a panic. Why does everything smell like smoke? Dave asks, and something is weird about his voice. Maybe the exposure to space did something? There was a small explosion. It's all fine now, though. You tell him. Of fucking course there was. Why am I even surprised? Dave says, and you take a second to catch that what he said was weird there. That sentence wasn't quite right. Hal sniffs for just a moment, but Dave turns to look at him instantly. Not that he's doing a lot of looking. What? If you've got something to say, then spit it out. Everyone's doing it. Dave snaps at him. I don't think I've got any grounds to do that. I'm not lecturing you on anything. Hal says quietly. Dave laughs bitterly and disbelievingly and moves to turn the rest of his body towards Hal, but sways slightly. Beck presses himself against Dave to steady him. No, go on, Dave argues, pointing right at Hal. Dave's finger moves unsteadily in the air, wandering a little. Are you drunk? You ask Dave in disbelief. Hal gives you a look of despair. Clearly you just said the absolute most wrong thing you could. Oh, what? You're gonna tell me Striders don't drink and that I don't know what I'm doing? Dave demands, turning to you now. More like, I don't know what Equius gave you and if you should mix it with alcohol. I don't care if you drink or don't in general, or whether your family does. You tell him simply. You're not lecturing at all. After everything that just happened, that happened because of us, it's not like I can tell you how to handle anything. Look, I'm gonna go. I didn't want you to run into me, since I doubt you want to talk to me right now, and I didn't want you to have to avoid me in your own hive. I'm gonna go sleep on Dad's lounge plank, Hal says softly. Nah, I've already had Dirk and Rose come at me telling me how they didn't mean for things to fucking go that way, but it's okay because they were right, so suck it. So if you're gonna fuck my whole life up and show the whole ship everything, I want to hear you justify that goddamn shit. Don't hide behind Dad. Dave hisses at him. Hal is frozen in place for a moment before his shoulders slump and he nods. Okay, he says quietly. We went looking for answers after we saw all that paranormal fuckery, so we stole Mom's research. I saw some of what she did to you. It literally made me sick. All I could think about was how you never said anything, and all those times when all I wanted was for Bro to not treat me like his daughter, and instead he and Mom took you to work. Like, I was sitting there crying about how you were worth taking with him, and when really... Hal doesn't so much stop speaking by choice, but instead it looks like the words just won't come out. I know we were kids, and I didn't know, but I didn't do anything, and things were still so bad now. I couldn't just keep not doing anything. I had to do something. Except I didn't. I wanted to help you, to protect you. You're my brother. But I had to do something so I could, I don't know, prove that if I'd known then, I would have stopped it. It was my guilt. Like, I had to heroically save you, and that's so much more about me than you. Hal confesses. Dave's expression, what little of it you can see, looks less angry now and more lost. This was all wrong. It had to change. I'm not wrong about that, but we fucked this up so bad. As soon as I got out of the hospital and all the drugs they gave me started wearing off, I realized what I'd done, and it was too late. It doesn't matter what we meant to happen or that we did want to help you, because look what we did. What I did. And I love you, and I'm sorry. And I know there's no way that's enough for exposing all of that to everyone, but I am. And I doubt you want to see me right now, so I'm gonna go. If you want to find me and yell at me or anything, I'll be with Dad, but I'll stay away unless you want. You know where I'll be. Hal finishes quietly. The silence in the room is the loudest thing you've ever heard. Is this like a double bluff, or am I meant to feel bad for you? Dave says suspiciously. Fuck no. I'm not talking for anyone else here but me, and I don't know what Dirk said, but me wanting to help you doesn't change what actually happened, and doesn't change the other motives I had, even if they were unconscious ones. Hal says firmly. Dave and Hal stand facing each other in silence for several seconds. Even Beck looks stressed, and you sure as hell feel stressed out too. You don't even know what you did, Dave says quietly. I feel bad for the massive amount of fuckery I had a hand in causing that I know about. I'm sure there's whole depths of mistakes that I didn't even know about too. Hal agrees. It's not just okay now, Dave says, his voice stern if a little slurred. You can hear it now that you're listening for it. I know, Hal nods. And I don't forgive you, Dave adds. I don't forgive me either, Hal admits, and you feel genuinely awful for him and Dave both. Hal shifts his bag in his arms and opens his mouth again, likely to say that he's going to go, but Dave gets there first. I don't forgive you, and it's not like you're sorry so it's all better, but at least you know that this is... Dave flounders. You don't forgive him and it's not okay, but you accept the apology? You suggest. That's it, Dave says, and snaps his fingers and points at you. Or points at his bedroom door instead of you. Over here, Dave, you tell him, and Dave's point changes to a middle finger that is perfectly aimed at you. What he said. I accept, or... yeah. Dave nods. I didn't expect that, Hal says quietly, his grip on his bag tight, and he looks like he's trying not to cry. Great. Well, I'm gonna... I don't know. Something. Dave mumbles. Right. I'm going to go. Hal nods. Cool. I love you, even if I fucking hate you right now, too. Dave tells him, and Hal very silently loses the battle to not shed a tear. Love you too, and I'm sorry. If you want to talk tomorrow, just let me know, Hal says, and with that, he leaves. Dave's head turns when the door shuts, and you stand there for a moment, waiting to see what Dave's going to do. Saul, can you come here? Dave mumbles. Yeah, you agree easily, and walk over there. Beck is sat down at Dave's side, but looks at you eagerly as you come over. He leans towards you with his nose out like he's trying to sniff you. You never had an awful lot to do with Beck in school, since he was obviously working, and you mostly just interacted with Dave. But now that you're here with him and Dave, you feel like you can't just ignore him. Besides, it seems like he wants to sniff you, so you oblige him and hold your hand out.
Beck shoves his nose in your palm and snuffles at it before coating your entire hand from fingertip to palm in dog spit thanks to an incredibly thorough lick. Ugh! You grimace and wipe your hand on your side. Dave laughs quietly and his hand touches your chest for a moment before his forehead hits your shoulder. He sighs deeply and you grimace. He stinks of alcohol, and really bad alcohol too. Fuck me, have you been drinking paint thinner? You ask incredulously. I could. Dave mumbles into your shirt. Don't drink paint thinner, you advise him. I meant the other thing you said, Dave says, and you stare at the ceiling for a moment. Let's pretend I have a time machine and I've just jumped back to a point in time before you said that, you suggest. That's gonna make this next thing all awkward and everything, he says as he puts an arm on your other shoulder and uses it to steady himself to standing up straighter again and facing you properly. Now I'm a little worried to ask, you say. I gotta shower. Everything hurts. I'm sticky from the bar. I think I've got, scum on my arm, and I feel gross. But I've got no eyes. I'm the drunkest I've ever been, and and my ears are fucked up. Balance is real fucky, and I'm not braining myself on the shower wall. Beck can help, but wet dog and also no thumbs. Dave rambles. You consider this. Obviously, you're not going to be weird about him being naked, because it's not like that. You're just more concerned about him getting hurt. It'd be easier if you could just convince him to get a washcloth and get most of him clean enough to sleep and sober up before having an actual shower. On the other hand, that'd do nothing for him aching all over, where a shower might. Alright, here's my offer. You start. We're negotiating? Dave asks, his grin telling you that he finds how seriously you're taking this to be really funny. Yeah, we are. My offer is this. We go in there, and I'll help steady you if you look like you're gonna fall over. I'll get the shower going and try to keep Beck from getting in the shower with you. I'll stay there and keep an eye on you, and if you slip, I'll grab you with my psionics. Hands to myself the whole time. And obviously, as far as I'm concerned, you're just gonna not exist below the collarbones for the duration of this whole thing. You tell him. But all the fun stuff's below there. Dave laughs. Nope. You're a floating head and shoulders as far as I'm concerned. Also, my condition is that if you look like you're getting faint or anything, I'm taking you out of there. You add firmly. But what about the rest of me? Dave asks jokingly. All of you can stay sticky and smelling like a bar if you keep pushing it. You warn him. Is this a bad time to ask you to sleep with me? Dave says instantly. Cool. Okay, not doing this. Go to bed, Dave. You say sharply. You're not dealing with this if he's gonna be like this. Wait, no, I was joking. I wasn't. I meant it, but not like that. I was making a joke. I really don't want to be drunk and blind and alone in bed. My hearing isn't all that great either, and honest, I'll be mostly non-existent if you want. Swear. Please? Dave asks desperately. You can catch the hint of actual fear there, and given Dave's regular tendency to make a joke out of something when he's uneasy, you can buy that he was actually asking you to stay with him rather than anything he was jokingly implying. Seriously? Because you're drunk and I'm not, you start. Really? Dave cuts you off, and you relax. Alright, fine then. At least it saves me putting new sheets on my bed, since they all got covered in shattered glass and plastic and thrown in the wash. Let's go make you less gross first. You agree, with a roll of your eyes that Dave can't see. Dave nods and relaxes ever so slightly. He turns and walks towards the ablution block with Beck following at his side, not leading at all. You go along after them and watch as Dave flicks the light on and reaches over for the shower door. He slides it back so it's half open and there's enough room for someone to get into the shower. I'm here, you say, just in case he doesn't know. Got it. Wait. Dave pauses with his hands on the button of his jeans. Shoes. Gotta get those. Dave goes to steady himself on the sink, but misses it entirely, and you and Beck both rush to grab him, your hands catching his shoulders and Beck's mouth closing quickly but carefully over Dave's forearm. I'll get your shoes, you tell him. You kneel down and start undoing Dave's laces for him and realize that you've never undone shoes from this angle before. You've never really had any reason to before now. You've taken any number of items of clothing off of Aradia, but usually by that point she's already ditched the shoes or she'd have pulled them off herself, leaving you something more fun to take off. You pulled Dave's laces really loose on one shoe and then pause. Can you stand on one leg without falling over? You ask him. What do you take me for? Dave says in response, but it all runs together, so it's more, what do you take me for? But you get the meaning. A drunk guy who just nearly fell over. Come on, I can't take your shoe off if you're standing in it. You remind him. Dave takes his foot off of the floor, wobbles, and then catches himself. He catches himself by clumsily steadying himself with his hand on your head, his fingers between your horns, and his grip pulling your hair a little. You hiss a little in discomfort, but you get his shoe and sock off easily enough. You toss them off to the side and watch as Beck picks them up and runs out of the room with them. He puts stuff away, Dave explains, and puts his bare foot on the cold tile of the ablution block floor. I'm sure they're not meant to be that smart, you mutter, and start on his other shoe. Dave just laughs, and now that he doesn't need you to balance, he strips his shirt off quickly and tosses it through the open door. From the scrabble of claws behind you, it's a safe guess that Beck got that too. Dave steadies himself on you again as you get rid of his other shoe and hand it off to the waiting Beck. With that done, you get up and watch as Dave unbuttons his jeans. You keep your eyes on his shoulders as soon as you've decided that his coordination with his hands is fine. It's only when he's trying to get out of his jeans that his balance becomes a problem. You reach out and steady his shoulder, but you're not sure if it's helping. Do you want me to take him off? You ask. This is so uncool, I'm sorry. Dave mumbles into your shirt. Cool or not, what are we doing? You ask again. Dave nods, which you're going to take as an answer to your first question of did he want you to take them off for him, so you kneel down in front of him again. This really isn't how I wanted this to go if we... Dave says, a little incoherently. You're kneeling, but you're on your toes as well, your heels giving you a little more height, so it's easy to lean forward and rest your chin on Dave's torso as you look up at him, so he knows where you're looking. Think of it this way. When you drink a lot, you can forget things when you wake up the next day. You begin and hook your thumbs around his jeans and underwear. Maybe you've had so much that you don't remember this, and even I don't remember it. Then, if something like this happens another time, it's definitely the first time it happened. You suggest, and pull his clothes off unseen. The, transitive properties of booze? Dave asks, displaying a fantastic ability to both sound very drunk and still manage to say something like that. It's got an official name and everything then. Gotta be real. You laugh quietly as you help Dave free himself, one foot at a time. He squeaks when your claws just catch the underside of one of his feet unexpectedly, but you're good and don't tickle him on purpose, and you make sure to not remember that he's ticklish there at all. Soon enough, you have one naked Dave in entirely different circumstances than you wanted. I'm sorry, Dave mumbles as you stand up. What for? You say back, and kick his jeans towards Beck, who scurries away with them again. It's not pitch, is it? He says quietly. It's not like that, you tell him. Dave's mouth is set into an unhappy line, so you figure you should explain. I could go on about how it doesn't change that because you've just been through a lot and you've got up again. So what if you went and got drunk off your ass and argued with your siblings? Obviously, it's not the smartest thing to do, but it's easy for people to say that when they didn't have to deal with everything you did. I could also say that kicking you when you're down is shitty pitch behavior, and I'm interested in seeing you at your best, so it's a good idea for me to help you get there. You explain softly. But even if all that is true, it's not really the point. We're friends. I care about you and I can help. You asked for my help, so I'm helping, because I care about you. The romance part doesn't even need to come into it, same as how you being naked right now is nothing like it would have been if we hadn't stopped at kissing in our block back on Somnos. So, it's fine. You don't have to apologize for anything. You tell him honestly. Dave leans against you, and you hear his quiet thanks that he whispers into your shirt like it's a secret. When he pushes himself back away from you, there's the distinct impression that the moment has passed, so you pretend like it didn't even happen. Are you taking the bandages off on your eyes off, or do you not get them wet? You ask him warily. You're not sure how he's going to manage the second one, given his coordination right now. I could change them. I've got stuff, but I didn't say don't get my ears wet, but he also didn't say to not go out and get drunk, Dave says slowly. You'd think he might be frowning under those bandages. Let's just not do that then. Hold on. Let me see if I can make the shower lower so it doesn't go near your head. You nod. Carefully, you step away from Dave and float into the shower. You're not wearing shoes since you left the ward without them, but you're not taking the risk of wet socks. It turns out you can change the shower height. It's just that no one has, because everyone in this hive is roughly the same height. Even Rose was in that range. As a result, the cap that you have to turn is kind of stiff. It's hard to focus on it when you're keeping an eye on Dave at the same time. You're a little more reassured that Beck has come back and is dutifully sitting at Dave's side. Dave wobbles and Beck steadies him at the same time that you panic and psionically go to grab him. Unfortunately, that makes Dave yelp and jump away, grabbing at Beck's harness the moment he's in reach. Holy fuck, no! Fuck! Don't! Oh, fuck. Don't do that. Dave gasps, his hands white knuckle tight on Beck's harness. Sorry, you looked like you were going to fall and I couldn't reach you, so I tried to catch you psionically. You apologize. Yeah, I can't see you, but I can still mostly hear you, and then something touches me out of nowhere, Dave says, loudly and clearly shaken. I'm sorry. No psionics, got it. You apologize. Sorry, it's not your fault. Bro and Mom moved quietly when I wanted. It was really hard to be sure they were there sometimes, and Bro coming out of nowhere was... Dave says hoarsely. I won't do it again. You promise him. The shower comes loose and you get it to where you need it to be and screw it back in. You land back on the floor outside the shower and go back to Dave's side, where Beck looks up at you warily. Do you still want a shower? You ask him quietly. Dave nods, and so you pull your own shirt off and dump it on the towel rack and then balance your glasses on the edge of the sink. Dave's hand slides up your forearm and then goes across to your chest, his fingertips skipping over your grub scars. Okay, I thought I heard you taking your shirt off, Dave says quietly, and despite his blinded state, you can still feel him staring at you. I'm not going to steady you in there with my psionics now, and I'm not looking to get my clothes soaked if I can help it. You tell him. Dave's hand goes to your hip, and he doesn't even need to point out that you're still half-dressed. Ideally, you don't fall and I don't need to go in there, you say, instead of pointing out that part of you hopes that you get a chance to take your clothes off for him in better circumstances, and you'd rather do that then than instead of now. Okay, wait, Dave says, and you think he means you until you see that Beck responded to what Dave said. Dave walks the few short paces to the shower without your help, and you very much keep your eyes on his shoulders and nowhere else. You're actually pretty interested in the things he touches on his way into the shower. The wall, the corner of it, the metal shower edge, along the tiled wall inside the shower, corner, other wall. You lean on the open shower door and note the noise it makes as you do. No doubt Dave does as well. I'll wait here. If you slip, I'll catch you, you tell him. Uh-huh, Dave mumbles as he feels up to the lower shower head position. A little bit behind you, Beck huffs, his claws clicking on the tile floor. You look around at him to see blatant disapproval on his face. Maybe he thinks that you're waiting wrong, since Dave obviously told both of you to wait. Don't give me that look. I've got thumbs. I can catch him way more easily than you can, and if I get wet, I don't smell like wet bark beast afterwards. You tell him.
Talk to him like that and you'll wake up to him licking your face,
Dave says matter-of-factly as he turns the shower on. Ugh, fucking hell. Goddamn, no one needs water that hot. Dave complains and turns the other dial. I wondered why it was always really hot or really cold in there. You say thoughtfully.
What did you have it on?
Dave asks as cool water flows over his shoulder. Somewhere in between. I just put it back how I found it when I'm done. You answer him. Dave giggles at the fact that, of course, you're halfway, and the drunken little sound bounces around the tiles. He leans his head back to let the shower water flow over his neck, and though you've cautiously brought your arm to the shower stall, it seems like you don't need it at all, because Dave is steadying himself with one hand on the shower controls.
All right, then.
You keep your focus on Dave's face, or the back of his head, depending on which way he's facing, and he's actually doing a good job of keeping the water off of his bandages and his ears. I think you're mostly losing your balance when you're bending over or looking around quickly. That's probably an ear thing rather than a drunk thing, right? You guess, as Dave squeezes soap out into his palm.
Probably,
Dave mumbles and rubs his hands together. You watch as his soapy hand trails over his Leica tattoo, and a thought occurs. Hey, do you know what soap? You start.
I know what I picked up, okay?
Dave says sharply.
What?
You say in confusion.
I said I know,
Dave tells you. You give Dave a bewildered look, which he obviously can't see. You give it to Beck instead, who just looks back at you. You wonder if he'd be more expressive with eyebrows, and if you can get a washable pen and draw some on him to see.
Probably a bad idea.
I don't know what I said wrong there. I was looking at your Leica tattoo, and if you're gonna do mine, I was gonna ask if you're supposed to put something special on it. With my hand, it was just the plastic stuff and then hand soap. You explain.
Oh, unscented stuff, which is what the shuttles and missions always have, so you're good. I thought you were fussing about if I'd picked the right thing up.
Dave mumbles, obviously embarrassed at having snapped.
It's your stuff. Also, it's soap. How far wrong can you go?
You say with a shrug. Dave turns his back on you to wash the soap from his chest.
Is that a pitch thing? Default, you know what you're doing setting?
Dave asks the wall instead of you.
Yeah. If you want me to be shocked that you're fine when you're blind, you should have asked way, way sooner. Between you and TZ, I generally assume that you need zero help, and if anything, other people need help to get away from you. Though, that last one's probably just Teresian or Kane.
You say flatly.
I like that,
Dave admits, so quietly that the sound is almost lost to the water.
Jade was always good. She didn't fuss or panic. My family always... they act like I've got it, but they're always watching because they don't think I do. I didn't think anyone else would be like Jade.
He goes on, still quiet. You let yourself smile sentimentally because, fuck, you've really got it bad, and the idea that he's seeing things in you that make him feel like he can trust you is... it's a lot. Normally I wouldn't be here. You don't need me. You're just in this overlap of different things, and you know your limits. That's good. You say, trying to keep your voice neutral and not romantically wistful. Having a kismicist that's strong is great. Having one who knows their limits so you don't mess with them is the aim. But having a kismicist who is self-aware enough to ask for you to do something and isn't stopped by their own pride is... it's the kind of stuff that made Karkat cry in a movie. Dave stops the shower suddenly and turns. He catches his hand on the door and leans towards you.
Say that again,
he tells you. Just that because you've got the thing with your ears and you're blind again and drunk, if it was just one or two, you'd be fine. I'm only here because you asked for help because you know your limits, and that's, it's good. You repeat. Dave's face is only a few inches from yours, so you get to watch a far too knowing smile spread on his face, white teeth and chapped lips somehow conveying far too much knowledge. Yeah, the other thing you learned from Terezi was that just because there's blindness doesn't mean that seeing isn't happening. Alright, Dave says, the word harmless, but the tone of it has your pump biscuit beating out a pattern of fluttery little spades. Dave's hand slides around the back of your neck, and he holds on to you as he climbs out of the shower. You're going to just say that was for balance and not think about it. The look on his face suggests that he's figuring you out really doesn't help you in that endeavor, though. Dave grabs the towel from the rail and pulls it off, and in the process drops your shirt to the floor. Before you can do anything, Beck has grabbed it and run off with it. My shirt! You protest, but he's clearly not coming back. Whoops, Dave says. You decide to grab your glasses before they get stolen by an overly helpful dog. They're all steamed up, though, and it'd be nice if you had a shirt right now to clean them with. I really want to do your tattoo, Dave says as he dries his shoulder off, blotting water from Laika's glowing fur. I really want you to have eyes when you do it, you say bluntly. No shit. Give me your hand or I'm absolutely falling on my face, Dave says, holding out his hand. You take it and stare at it, suddenly glad that your glasses are all misty right now, so that way your peripheral vision isn't picking up anything it shouldn't do. Dave bends over and with his other hand dries off his legs and his feet, but you can feel from the way he pulls at your hand every so often that his balance is really off. You're onto something with the... Dave groans, standing up again and tying the towel around his waist. Changing your orientation is throwing you off balance. You finish for him. Yeah, that sure is the truest thing right now, Dave says softly. That wasn't what you meant, but you guessed that too. Dave goes to the mirror over the sink and pops it open to show the narrow cabinet behind. He picks up a cardboard box, runs his fingers over it, and then puts it down and grabs the next. What are you doing? You ask him curiously. Trying to find goddamn painkillers. And it's Braille, Dave says, before you can ask further. You take the box that he's discarding and touch it. The surface has a bunch of little dots on it that are slightly raised, but as they're not colored in or anything, you've never noticed. All medicine has it. Actually done, all properly, not like the stupid ones on the ship signs, he adds, and finds the one he wants. So it's just a raised alphabet, not a different language? You question as you run your fingers over it some more. Dave takes 2 painkillers and leans over to drink from the sink, but he makes a noise of agreement as he does so. You watch him, wary of his balance since he leant over, but leaning on the sink seems to be enough. You also can't help but think how in theory, if Dave did want to be your kismesis and actually wanted to try it out, you could take the time to learn how to write brailles just so you can leave him otherwise invisible messages on things. You're getting ahead of yourself, but you like the thought. You like it a lot. Where's our stuff? Dave asks and stands up again slowly and carefully. What, from the shuttle? You ask. Dave gives you a look that's pretty much expressionless, and you think that it might still be that, even if you could see under those bandages. How should I know where our stuff is? He made me leave things in the shuttle, and it's not like I've been out of the hospital for that much longer than you. If our things got back before I did, then Hal didn't say anything. You tell him. Great. You arrest your captain and everyone else just stops doing their job right, which means we don't have any of our stuff. I've got, 1 spare toothbrush in here. We could share? No, wait, that's gross, right? Fuck. Dave mumbles. Counter-argument, you've had your tongue in my mouth, so it's not that much different, you say with a shrug. Dave looks up at you, and between the look on his face and the subtle shift in his body language, you have a feeling you get where this is going. you're drunk off your ass and emotionally fucked up right now. So I'm just gonna say, without anyone asking, and I'm sure you weren't going to, that we're not repeating any of that particular experience right now. It doesn't matter how much I like you or how attractive you are. It's not happening. You remind him.
Okay, but
Dave starts. You growl at him. Not really. It's not an actual threat, not the instinctive thing that really rattles around in your chest when you're impossibly pissed. But it is something you can do on command, even if it's not as convincing. Just like you can fake cough if you want, but it's not the same as the real thing. You like to think it gets your point across that you're not going to budge from your stance on this. Instead, Dave's back straightens a little, and his hand tightens on the packaging of the spare toothbrush. You can see Dave's eyebrows raise just over his bandages, and for a moment you're concerned that you actually intimidated him. At least you are until... Look. Dave's skin is really pale. Humans come in an array of colors, from very pale pinkish beige to really dark brown, and there are all sorts of undertones that weirdly aren't anything to do with blood color showing through at all. The Striders, however, all have this really pale tone and white hair, which you know is part of some condition. It's the reason Dave's eyes were all messed up in the first place, but you don't know exactly what it is. The result is that there's very little pigment in his skin to obscure the shift in his blood from the surface. On Somnos, it was really easy to see. When you'd come in from the cold together, you could witness his skin flush as he warmed up. You've seen Hal get redder out of agitation when you're kicking his ass in games, and you've seen Rose go bright red in school when she was new to Kanaya flirting with her. What you mean is that you're concerned that you might have spooked Dave until you see his skin start to shift color. Until you figure that his hand tensing is less, oh no, I'm scared, better hold on to something, this troll might bite my throat out, and instead is more, oh fuck, all I have to hold on to is a shred of willpower and this toothbrush because this troll might bite me and that'd be great. Dave, you plead. He's killing you here.
I'm Dave.
Dave manages and stands up, toothbrush in hand. He turns to the sink and takes it out of his packaging, and you get the feeling that if he could see, he'd still be avoiding your gaze.
I mean, you know we had a deal. You're giving me a hand, helping me out. I mean, you're being cool about my drunk, injured ass needing supervision, and we said that I'd be good and not make it weird, and, you know, it's not... You could trust me. If you're all for real, Dave, don't do it, then look at me doing that. I wasn't thinking anything gay or, about your voice and me not wearing... Yeah. Dave says in semi-intelligible chunks. Yes, Dave, you get it. Good job proving that he can be trusted to listen to the rules, and also, if that perhaps might be a very desirable quality for a kismicist, then that sure is a coincidence. He may as well have drawn a spade on his chest and toothpaste and done a little dance for how subtle it was. It's not like it's not working, though. He's emotionally vulnerable and hurt, considering everything he's been through. He's physically vulnerable, thanks to the damage to his hearing, his balance, and being down his eyesight again. And he's drunk. All that put together makes for a mix where you wouldn't be surprised if someone wasn't acting their best. Not that it's an excuse. You can't just get drunk and get a free pass to do whatever you want. You're not saying that. You are saying that Dave's had an awful thing happen to him, that his relationships with most people have taken a nosedive, that he's injured and probably wants comfort, that he's in the middle of a sexuality crisis, and he's drunk. And even though he clearly wants more from you right now, he's doing his best to do the smart thing and to listen to you. It says a lot about Dave and how much you can trust him, and yeah, that is pretty attractive, Spade's ways. I'm going to go get you something to wear to bed. You brush your teeth and don't fall over, you say carefully, instead of anything unwise. Wait, Dave calls after you. You back up to look around the door to see Dave standing there, toothbrush already in his mouth. He starts. I can't understand anything you're saying, you inform him. Dave huffs, but takes the toothbrush out and spits into the sink. Don't worry about clothes. Dave starts and makes you concerned about clothes. Under my bed there's a box. Snapped off handle, back top corner. Beck's stuff's in there. Can you...
Feedback. Got it. You nod. Beck had already been standing in the ablution block doorway, but now he is giving you an incredibly intense look. You walk into Dave's block and have a look around. There's a suspicious pile of clothing in the corner. You can see the edge of your shirt sticking out of it, and mysteriously it's covered in white fur. How could that possibly have happened? You lean under the bed and take a moment to notice that all of the boxes under here are different. Not just differently colored, but if you were, for example, blind, you could touch each of these and know which they were no matter what order they were in. That box has a snapped handle, that one's all smooth with a lid. This one is cardboard, that one's got an indent in the middle of it, and so on. You find the box Dave mentioned and open it to find 2 steel pet food bowls, a neatly sealed bag of dog food, a wiry brush, and a carefully folded fuzzy blanket. For now, you just take out the food in the bowls. You're not sure where they're meant to go, so you put them down near Hal's door just so Dave's less likely to walk into them. You're also not sure how much food Beck is supposed to have, and the writing on the back is talking about different breeds and weights of bark beast. Probably better to overfeed him one time than not feed him enough, right? You open the bag and shake a good amount of the food into one bowl, and as you glance over at Beck, you can see his ears are turned so he can hear the food going into the bowl. His tail is also wagging like mad. Despite all that, he's watching Dave and not leaving him to eat. You snag his other bowl and move past him to go into the ablution block to fill the water bowl up. I put the bowls by Hal's room, and is that... Okay. Your question is cut off as Dave just nods and walks out of the room with Beck following him. Okay then. You get Beck his water and put that down next to his food, and then head back to the ablution block. It's probably not smart to leave Dave on his own for ages when he's still drunk, and despite what you said earlier, you'd think he'll pass on stealing his toothbrush. Mouthwash will have to do. Dave has saved you the worry about whether or not it's okay for you to go into his room or not by just leaving the door open for you. You find him sat on the edge of his bed, pulling a clean pajama shirt on. You step out of the way as Beck picks up Dave's towel from the floor and hurries off with it. You're not concerned until you hear the front door open, and by the time you've turned around to look, you just see the retreating tip of his tail and the towel being dragged along. "Oh, fuck, that got out!" You yelp. "He's just putting the towel in the laundry." Dave yawns. "What? But how does he know... How did he even open the door? I've never seen him open doors for you." You exclaim. "Don't need him to open doors for me. I can do it myself." Dave mumbles and slumps sideways onto his bed. "I'm not doubting your ability to operate a door. I'm saying that it..." You pause as the front door opens again and Beck trots back inside without the towel. You watch in utter confusion as Beck closes the front door and then goes into the ablution block and shuts that door after himself. The only conclusion that you can reach here is that somehow Beck is going to the ablution block on his own. Again, you went to school with Dave and Beck, but you can't say you paid attention to Beck's bodily functions aside from you never remembering him having an accident or anything. You have a vague memory that Dave used to use the disabled ablution blocks at school like Terezi did, but you figured that was just so Dave didn't have to deal with a crowd and a bark beast while trying to relieve himself. In the same way that Terezi's incredible sense of smell didn't appreciate a packed room of ablution block stalls and sweaty teens reapplying deodorant and hair products. When the ablution block door opens again, Beck trots out, and you can hear the distant sound of flushing. Okay. Beck uses people ablution blocks. That's fair? He pauses to have a few bites of kibble and a drink of water before coming back in. As he passes you, something cold and wet flicks your leg, and you realize that he's leaving 2 wet paw prints as he walks. The fur around his front paws is all wet, but not the back. Did you wash your paws?" You ask incredulously. "Good clean boy," Dave mumbles. You have no idea why he would need to wash his paws. It's not like he has thumbs. Surely he can't have...
You know what? You're just gonna abandon this entire stupid train of thought for your own sanity.
Beck sniffs at Dave's face and gets slightly uncoordinated petting in return. Right. I'm gonna change. I'll be right back, you say slowly, watching Beck as you leave.
Holy shit, you need to ask someone exactly what kind of bark beast Beck is, because this is nuts. You change for bed quickly, although you do relish the chance to wear proper sleepwear again. When you go back to Dave's, you see that he's flat on his back with his hands on his head as Beck is scuffling around.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa!
Beck yells quietly and scrabbles at Dave's desk. Dude, I don't know what you want, and I'm not getting up, Dave mumbles.
I think he wants to get inside your desk drawer, you tell Dave as Beck paws at it.
Dave mumbles a response, but you don't fully get it.
Want me to open it for him? You ask, and get a clumsy thumbs up in return. You open the desk drawer for Beck, who immediately noses about and then looks at you for help. I don't know what you want either. You got cables, hand cream, lip balm, screwdrivers, an old palm husk. You lift off.
My palm husk,
Dave gasped from the bed. Your palm husk was in your pocket. I took your clothes off. I'd know. You point out.
It's my blind one. Fuck, I need to change him over.
Dave groans, sits up, and sways dangerously. You snag the palm husk and move to Dave's bedside, pushing him flat to the bed again with a gentle nudge. You stay where you are. You have on-site tech support, remember? You tell him, and choose to ignore Dave's sudden, sharp intake of breath that has nothing to do with surprise or alarm. Instead, you do tech support. You fish Dave's clothes out of the slightly furry pile of clothes that Beck has set up in the corner and retrieve his palm husk from it. Now that you have both in hand, you can see that they're different. The one you got out of the drawer has a slightly thicker case on it, and notably, each edge of the case is textured slightly differently. As well as that, the screen isn't shiny, but instead it's a silky kind of matte texture. You slip the case off, and you can't say that you see anything physical that needs to be transferred from one palm husk to the other. Interchangeable chips between devices haven't been a thing in standard tech for a long time, but they are sometimes used in very specific occasions when you're dealing with super high security stuff as a way of doing a very physical kind of multi-factor authentication. Given Dave's position as a balancer, you're not making assumptions, but it seems like for now there's nothing like that here. Do you want me to sync everything and mark this one from your desk as your main? You ask him, and Dave nods ever so slightly. You kneel next to his bed and plug the old palm husk in so it can pick up some charge first. You pass Dave his regular palm husk, and he carefully puts in his passcode for you. Transferring data from one device to another is something you could probably do in your sleep at this point, so you barely have to think as you go through all of the menus on Dave's palm husk. When it's all ready, you pick up the other palm husk and it wakes with the motion. The screen on this thing makes you wince. The contrast is all over the place and it's bright as hell, which is just the kind of thing that Dave would have needed before his first eye surgery. Your fingers skate over the smooth screen and you're surprised to feel sudden bumps in it. At first you think you've broken it somehow, but then you realize that it's raised little dots. Is this a braille palm husk? You whisper in awe.
Other one does TTS, but I don't want to play everything out loud,
Dave murmurs as he rolls onto his side, facing you. You hold it out for him to unlock and take a moment to marvel at the interface. All of the font on screen is larger and it's raised in those dotted letters. You have to tap things a certain way to select the options you want, and it's cleverly set up so scrolling can't happen by accident, and despite all of this, it's not clunky or hard to use.
How did you not notice this at school? This is outrageously cool.
Alas, you're not here to admire Dave's sweet tech, you're here to help him. You get the two palm husks syncing up and stay there on the floor as you wait for them to finish. Beck goes out to eat more food, and you plug your own palm husk in since you're just sitting here. Hey, it's nearly done. Do you still want me to sleep here? It's okay if you change your mind. You ask him quietly. leaning one elbow on the bed to get closer to him. Dave's hand quickly reaches out and grabs hold of your sleeve.
Don't go, please, he whispers.
Okay. Can I use my psionics to turn the lights out? You ask, not sure since he hated him so much earlier. He nods, and you click the lights off to the main room and here. Now you're just in the dark, bathed by the light from Dave's palm husks. Beck trots in a few moments later and pauses next to you. With your free hand, you carefully pet Beck.
Should I take his harness off?
You ask, and Dave nods, making a small sound of agreement. With one hand, you unclip Beck's harness and place it on the desk. The palm husks ping that they're done, so you turn Dave's regular one off and float that onto his desk as well, and put his far cooler one on the bedside table to charge. How do you want to do this? You ask, since Dave's right up on the edge of the mattress and pretty far from the wall right now, but he could have been doing that to get close to you. Dave pats the empty space between him and the wall, so you're going there. Normally you'd float over him instead of clambering awkwardly in the dark, but you're not taking the risk of making him panic when you're fully capable of climbing over him. Dave shifts to face you as you move, which makes things hard enough because all the lights are out now and movement makes this harder. Dave, I say this with all the affection in the universe. Quit squirming about in the bed in the dark, or one of us is accidentally getting a knee to the junk and neither of us wants that. You warn him. Well, at least Dave's barely smothered giggling at that is a good way of placing him in the dark. Honestly. You slip under the covers, and Dave immediately snuggles up next to you, leaving you to wrap your arm around him.
Sorry, he mumbles in the dark.
For finding the idea of kneeing me in the bone bulge hysterical? You ask him flatly. There's a snort of laughter from your shirt, and you can feel Dave's back shake as he silently cracks up all over again. You suspect he is not sorry for finding that funny. If you're gonna apologize for needing help, don't, you say when he's finished laughing at you. Dave's chest rises and falls as he sighs, so you soothingly run your fingers over the soft material of his pajama shirt.
Thanks for that, but...
Dave hesitates.
Sorry for making it weird. Like, I want you to take my clothes off, yeah, and how you sounded, and I'm gonna think about you and showers and me now for sure.
Dave, you manage to say, your voice a little strangled.
But I don't have to tell you that when you're being cool, you know?
Dave goes on, and you're not sure if he's aware that he's said all that out loud or not. It's hard to tell when Dave's baseline sober is talk first, think later.
I'm sorry about that,
Dave concludes. You open your mouth to tell him that it's fine and he should go to sleep, but he's off again.
But I'm sorry that I went off like that. Everything's fucked. So fucked. Everyone knows, and my whole family stabbed me in the back, and I can't...
Dave's breath hitches. Hey, no, you don't have to deal with that shit now. You're not getting anything solved right now. Tomorrow we can try, but not now. You're okay. You insist.
I know. Fuck. I just wanted to not... Don't stop, and I wanted it to, so fuck it. Like, family tradition time. Get stupid drunk and make your problems everyone's.
Dave chokes out. You roll onto your side so you can hold Dave close to you as best as you can. Dave is still talking, but between being drunk and being upset, it's just a high-pitched, unintelligible whine. You catch the odd snippet about being like them and fucking stupid, and then a bit that sounds like him more or less explaining that being drunk on top of being blind and having compromised inner ears was a terrible idea. You press your lips to his forehead and softly pet his hair for a moment. Was getting drunk a good idea? Obviously not. It didn't help any of his problems and made some of them harder. But he didn't fist-fight his siblings or go hunt down the captain or the officers that arrested you to hurt them. He didn't go and seek out the people who leaked all of this information about him to get revenge. He didn't go out of his way to put himself in serious harm, like trying to call the void out for a showdown. Obviously, going out and getting trashed wasn't a good idea. It could have led to a lot worse things for a start. Not to mention, it's a bad combination with his current physical state, and probably not great in a family that has a history of bad times with alcohol. It's not smart. But you've done dumb shit when you've been in a bad place too, and Dave's in a pretty terrible place. One of his fellow balancers died. A hugely vital mission got called off early. His girlfriend of 10 years broke up with him. He's having a sexuality crisis that'll make his dead biological father pissed as hell when he finds out. On top of that, he hated the idea of you being forced to balance like he is, and that happened anyway. His mother is apparently out there and aware of roughly where you all are now. Everyone on the ship knows about all of you. His family were behind that, and he just kicked off a revolution and then got put in the hospital after pulling a really difficult balancing task off. You're hardly endorsing what Dave's done, but you'd like to see anyone else do better in his place. I know. It's not your fault. Go to sleep, and tomorrow we can figure shit out. I've got your back. You whisper to him in the dark.